Here we were in the early stages of a pandemic, something that none of us had ever experienced in our collective lifetime. I knew we'd be back on our feet at some point, but in the interim, I still wanted to speak to audiences, but particularly to assistant principals. Knowing that my social media platform was large and was closely associated with my work, on the first Saturday in May 2020, I launched the virtual AP Leadership Academy. The intent was 18 weeks only, but as many of you know, we are years in with no ending in sight. We are now the AP and New Principals Academy, as many of the assistant principals from the original virtual AP Leadership Academy became principals. If you're new to the platform, welcome. If you're a leadership veteran, this platform continues to be relevant for veterans in principal leadership, assistant principal leadership, and aspiring school leaders. With that said, it's time for today's session. And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 328 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. And before I go over to do my shout outs, let me say I'm live, y'all, because like some of y'all ain't tuned in. I wasn't live last week. I was recorded, but we were on time at 11. But I'm sitting here in the air quote studio. Right. So let's go. Let's go. I just jumped off that I was getting ready to say the slave ship, y'all. Man, I was getting ready to say I just jumped off the slave ship. I just jumped off the cruise ship. But I was reading a book on slavery, the antebellum South. It's called The Peculiar Institution. I was reading it all week, but we're gonna talk a little bit about that because something little ironic happened while I was reading that book. So we're gonna talk about that before I get going on this topic. Where we at here? We got Dr. Rachel Edoeket, who just finished up her term, her 1-year term as the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals president, and now she's back as being a member, right, and having influence. So good to see you. Good to see you. Constance Sherrod is in the building, Pearl, Mississippi. By the way, if you missed the session with myself and Rachel, Dr. Edoeket, about 2 weeks ago, go back and check it out. Great session. Go to YouTube. You'll see it, right? I think it was number 327. Right, let's go. Constance Sherrod is here, Pearl, Mississippi. Mona Oba Molak, Slow Down, Kafele, Orlando, Florida. Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada. Must be pretty hot out there. 702. Where we at? AP, Patrick Lawrence, Connecticut. Takesha High is in Virginia. Otis Kitchen II. Principal Otis Kitchen II is in the building. Lysandra Brackens is in the building, North Carolina. And I should say Principal Kitchen's down in Tampa. There's Grace Castaneda. I see you. Midland, Texas. Dr. Robin Snowden is in the building. She's back home in Fresno, California. Harambe, she said, we got Mrs. Yolanda McKinney is in Texas. We got Stacy L. Joy, Los Angeles, California, and getting accustomed and adapting to retired life, right? And whatever that's going to bring you. I know it's going to bring you something good. We got Marsha Poe in San Diego. Vanessa Zeskin is in Connecticut. Where we at? Bobby Joe Stewart, Bay Area. Michelle Braxton in the building. Tasha D, Mobile, Alabama. Dr. Garcia, that's my man. Dr. Garcia, I see you. Edwin Garcia in the building, Passaic, New Jersey. Hey, Doc, man, I wasn't here yesterday. I was still on the cruise ship. I could get that right this time, the cruise ship. But I saw all that water. Man, I saw my son took pictures of the basement, man, swimming pool, So, I hope everything was good with you with all that rain. I don't know what's going on here. The first storm going back about 2 years, they said this was a once in a lifetime storm. That's when we had the big swimming pool in the basement. And now it's this stuff is becoming like normal. It's becoming normalized. These flood watches are becoming some real flood hazards, So be careful out here in the Northeast, y'all, and in other parts of the country that just have, challenging weather. Where we at? Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu, Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the building, doing big things. Man, I wish I had that post up, Melissa, Dr. Jones Chunu, because so I could share with everybody. But we get it next week in terms of the big things you're doing. But it indicated that you guys are, I think, on the verge of blue ribbon, if I'm not mistaken. Right, but I'll have it next week, or you can feel free to drop it right in the chat. Right, Kenyell Session, I see you, Oklahoma City. Ronald Pugh, I see you, Cedar Hill, Texas. Mr. Big Dad 48, I see you. Good morning. Grace Long is in Atlanta. My man, Principal Josh Tovar, is in the building, Garland, Texas, and Sean Hurt, Detroit, Michigan. And by the way, since they're both here, let me say this: every Saturday morning, man, we rocking, baby. We got Sean Hurt at 10 o'clock. These are Facebook Live or YouTube by the names I'm giving you. Sean Hurt, 10 o'clock, followed by Create and Educate with Principal with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. Then followed by the AP New Principals Academy, hosted by myself. And then Saturday morning, we switch. Sunday afternoon. Listen, y'all, I just stepped off of the cruise ship, man. Like I'm still in cruise mode, right? And I can't believe I'm actually at home. Like an hour ago, I was on a ship, right? So bear with me as I transition into presentation mode again, right? So, but yeah, Sunday evening at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, we got Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. Right, good stuff, and that's the PGP podcast. I'm getting ready to shut it down, y'all. I see Dot McKeever Jeter in the building, Calumet City, Illinois. Dominic Spider-Man Lape, or maybe Lape, in San Marcos, Texas. Where we at? Josh is on the treadmill. I hear that. I appreciate it. I was on that treadmill throughout the week on the cruise ship, but spent more time on the bike, because the cruise ship is rocking, and it's kind of hard to stay balanced on the treadmill when the cruise ship is rocking left to right. You got to hold on, and I don't like holding on no treadmill, man. I want my hands free, right? So Tony McClenny, I see you, Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm getting ready to shut it down. Kathy M. Ladzik is in Colorado Springs. Jacqueline Harriet is in the building, Nova Scotia, Canada. And I said Sean Hurt. Alicia Fields is in the building, who I was in her company out in Petersburg, Virginia, not too long ago. And I'm going to close it out with the Queen back in the castle, baby. All 25 rooms, man. We back in the castle. Y'all know I'm joking when I say that, right? All right, just make sure, right? I don't want to, man, he live in a mansion, like his home is like Shaq's. Nah, we ain't there, man. But the Queen of the castle, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, is in the building, man. We were on the cruise ship together with the fam for 9 days. Here we are. Hey, y'all, let's get it rocking. Let me say formally now to everybody, greetings. No, that's wrong. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 328 consecutively. See, I don't want somebody to say, wait a minute, but you recorded last week. Yeah, but it came on at 11, right? 11 o'clock Eastern. We still consecutive. The chain is broken when you go to your computer and I'm not there. But until then, consecutively, baby. Now, I have a goal in mind. The goal is at least 500. And then we'll see. You figure if I could do the math real quick, we at 329, that's 6 years. So another 50 would be 7 years. Another 50 would be 8 years. Another 50 is 9 years, right? So, I mean, you know, I'll be like 69, 70 years old, still talking about consecutive. I turned 66 in October, right? So, hey, we'll see how that goes. We got a lot to talk about, man. Let me go. Hey, y'all. What were your wins last week? Jot them and put them in the chat, or just jot them down. But what were your wins? What worked last week? I could be talking about the work, or I could be talking about anything. Man, my hat's supposed to be purple in this camera. It's like blue. Let me tell y'all something. The hat is purple to match this shirt. Right? So I don't want you thinking I've got a blue hat with a purple shirt on, right? Somebody said, I really don't care, right? What I care about is this content you getting ready to deliver. That's why I'm here. But I'm just letting you know, I know how to match colors, right? Listen, what were your wins last week, y'all? That's important, right? What were your wins? Jot them down, put them in the chat if you like. I read all this stuff, right? But I'll also ask you what you're going to do next week to take your leadership, to take your game, to take your life to another level of accomplishment, right? My wins last week, man, being on that ship, that was a win. You know, I work hard to just be able to pay to be on there, right? That's that's hard work. And they it's not cheap going on them cruises, man. And then there's things to buy, right? It's even though the food comes with it, but but there's other things you may want. I don't drink, so I don't have to worry about that. But there are other things that you do buy. And then when you're on those islands, you certainly gonna pay some money, right? So so a win was just the ability to be on that ship, right? But also the win was that I continued to exercise while I was on it. I could have taken off. All right, we ain't gonna do nothing. No. Every day I'm in that gym, right? That's no days off with that, right? And also the relaxation, chilling. That's winning. I mean, news flash to someone that may not realize, chilling is winning. But something else, as I'm talking about these wins, I haven't had an opportunity to really read the way I want to. Not books, I read articles and blogs and all that kind of stuff, but books. I took this book I bought back in 1986 called The Peculiar Institution. Hear me well on this one, y'all. The Peculiar Institution. It's a book about enslavement, the antebellum South. So the South before the Civil War, right? And it was interesting because every day I'm reading a chapter or two, whatever it was. No, not a chapter or two. They're long chapters. Reading segments or two. And there was one page in that book. I wish I had the book in front of me. I could tell you what page. But one page in that book, back when I read it for the first time or the second time in the 90s, one of the pages kind of came out of the binding, right? So I had it just kind of stuck in the book. But I brought that book with me because I was in the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. I was very deliberate as to why I brought that book. I wanted a book so that when I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean, when I'm looking at the Caribbean Sea, it would elevate the energy that I have in terms of what I'm reading, right? Because if I just lost somebody in terms of enslavement and the millions of bodies, meaning bones, that are in that water from that middle passage, right? Particularly the Atlantic Ocean side, right? In that water. Well, I wanted to be reading a book that corresponds with that, right? So here was the interesting thing that happened. I'm reading the book, then I put it down for a few minutes to kind of process what I was reading, and a wind gust came, and that one loose page blew out into the sea. I said, ooh, I don't know how to interpret that. I don't know what to make of that. I said, were the ancestors calling? Like what was that? Did that wind gust came at that juncture and opened that book up to that page, and that page said, pew, right into the water. So we talked about it at dinner, because we have a lot of people with us. So we talked about it at dinner, and it's just an interesting thing that I'm never going to forget, ever. And the good thing is I know which page it was, because when I go to the book, I'll know what page is missing, right? Based on the numbers. So the page numbers. So just kind of sharing some thoughts with you in terms of that actually happening while I was on that ship, right? So with that said, let's go. Shout out to, I got no clients to shout out, so just shout out to the vacation, right? I ain't promoting no ship lines, just shout out to the vacation. But I'm glad to be home. Right, always glad to be home. Right, I see some of your comments on that page now, y'all. Yeah, that was interesting. Welcome to the first timers. And if this is your first time, don't let it be your last time. But if it is your first time, that means you've missed 327 sessions. Today is 328. I might have said 329, but today is 328. Right, I recorded this last week, 2 weeks ago, thinking that I wouldn't be home in time to go live. So I'm doing a session over, but I redid my notes last night, and this is going to be better than what the one you'll never see, right? You'll never see it. This will be far better. This gonna be. I just told my family a few minutes ago. This is the most important session I've ever done solo. This one right here, the most. I've done a million solo sessions on this platform. This is the most important session I've ever done. So I'm saying to you, if this is your first time, don't let it be your last time. But you can go to the AP and New Principles Academy YouTube channel, and you can catch up on all that you missed. They're all there, all 328 sessions, right? Make sure you hit the subscribe button though while you're there. Be a subscriber. Be a part of the 25,800. Last time I checked, 25,895 subscribers. Right? It could be 900 now. I don't know, but be a part of that number. Right? Join us. If you are first time and you say, man, it's 11:17 and he ain't on the topic yet. Yo, this is how I roll, man. You know, we relevant right now. This is what I do. You know, just kind of break the ice, lay a foundation, set a tone, and then we jump into it. So don't worry about that. But don't wait until it's 11:20 or something to come on. Come on in the beginning, right? I want to shout your name out, right? Let's go. The big announcement that I've been announcing is just about here, y'all. September 5th is around the corner. It's a month away. Where again, for those of you that don't know. We'll be on Zoom every first Sunday, second hour. First hour, we're right here. It's solo. Every first Saturday, if I said Sunday, I meant Saturday. Every first Saturday is me, solo, right? That's what I do. I don't give those to anybody. I used to, but I stopped. Those are me. I got things I want to talk about without a guest. Every first Saturday is my day. But instead of spending an hour, now we're going to be switching over. So after the first hour, we going over to Zoom. So 12 o'clock Eastern, we going over to Zoom so that we can now engage with one another. Some of you, I know you're going to want to sit back in the cut and you're not going to want to engage. You're just going to want to be there. But others of you, I know you're going to want to talk. So whatever my topic is, I want us to engage on the topic, right? I'm taking this platform to a new level, right? So I want us to engage on the topic. But those of you that may not want to engage, those of you that I can't get to turn on the cameras, right? Perhaps you'll get something because of the conversation, because it won't just be me. It'll be us. So however it goes, it's going to work. But how do you get the link? Put your ear to the speaker and listen carefully, because I will not be posting the link. And I'm going to ask those of you who have the link, do not post it. Please don't. I don't want any, I'm going to use this word. I don't want any undesirables on that platform. I know that's a Hillary Clinton word, right? I don't want them on here. In other words, I'm not looking for like somebody to come on here that want to like disrupt, troll, challenge, all this kind of stuff. This is reinforcement of the first session, the 11 o'clock session, or giving us an opportunity to engage in whatever's in your dome, whatever's on your mind. Right? It doesn't have to be my topic. It could be, Kafele, I've been wanting to talk to you for years, and now I got an opportunity. I want to run this by you. So we'll use it that way as well. So how do you get the link? Listen carefully, because a lot of y'all been messing this part up, man, badly. Go to my AP and New Principles Academy Facebook page. Let me say it again. AP and New Principles Academy Facebook page. And then go to the messages. Don't go to the comments. Just go to whatever they call it, inbox, messages, whatever it is. Click that and say one of two things: I'm in or I'm down. That's all I need. Because when I see that, I'm gonna know what that means. I'm in or I'm down. But here's the kicker: I need your personal email address, not your work email, because a lot of times when you send first time emails to a work email, you never get it. Then you'll be writing me talking about I never got the link and I put it in your box. No, that's because you didn't follow instructions, right? I need you to put your personal email address. Now I'm gonna tell you this too, because I'm very serious and intentional about who comes on here. If you're coming from a page with like no profile picture, I'm probably not going to send it to you. Because you're probably somebody that's trying to hide, so you can come on here and disrupt, put on some nonsense on the Zoom, as people do. Put, people throw all sorts of craziness. I've been on, they throw porn, they do all sorts of stuff, right? So no profile pic or I go to your page and it's like some weird stuff. And when I say weird, like it's the antithesis of my values, right? That's what I mean when I say weird. It's the antithesis of my values, the antithesis of what I believe politically, all that kind of stuff, socially. I'm probably not going to want to bring you in, right? I need to see that I'm just talking to some real people that's really down with this work, right? So, so leave me your email address and say either I'm in or I'm down. And then late August, I will be sending the link personally to each of you in a blast email. So is that more work? Yeah, it is. But I don't mind doing, it's easy to just post the link, right? But I run risk doing that. So instead, I will email a blast email. That's why you don't want to be send me your work email, because that will not make it, right? Send me your personal. I send you a blast. And then if you got some friends, colleagues, family, whomever, and you feel they'll benefit from this, then send them the link personally. Don't put that on your page, please. Right? Just send it personally and tell them why. Because tell them don't because I'm gonna use the same link every week. Right. So I just don't want them folks on here that don't belong. Enough on that, y'all, because I got a lot to talk about today. Real quick. These are the books that coincide with this platform, right? I've got other books that I've written, and they coincide as well. But these are the two I really want you guys to have. If you don't have What Is My No, let me do that again. If you don't have What Is My Value Instructionally to the Teacher I Supervise or the Assistant Principal 50, get yourself a copy. Get it now. Get it out the way, right? But get yourself a copy. All my other books, they're relevant. But I'm just saying these are the two that I focus on as far as they coincide with this platform. And, if speaking of books, by the way, I called my publisher about 3 days ago. And I was so excited. I haven't had a book in me for a long time. Like people ask me all the time, what you going to write? Even my publisher, what you going to write? I say, I don't have anything in me. And then finally, bam, that thing hit me, man, on that cruise ship, baby. I got the book in me. But I'm going to tell you more about it because some of you on this call right now, you might happen to be a part of this project, right? And I'm going to leave that right there, right? Some of you on the call might just be a part of this project. This is more than a book. It's a project. Right. But I talked with my publisher's like, oh, I like that. I said, all right, let's go. So, they'll run it by some more people in terms of how we're going to go, and then we're going to get it going. Right. So Principal Kafele got book number 15 loading. Right. Book number 15 is loading. Man, I got it. Guy said, I'm going to give you this on the cruise ship. I said, oh, my God, thank you. Right. Sometimes, like the blessings show up in the strangest places, because some people think the blessing is financial. Right. Oh, man, money came out of nowhere. No, the blessing ain't always financial. Not always. Right. In fact, probably not most of the time. The blessing could be anything. But when something dropped on me to say, here's a new book, since I'm an author, I said, that is the blessing. Right. That's it. Book number 15 loading, Kenya. Book number 15 is loading. But like I said, some of y'all might be a part because it's not just a book, it's a project, right? All right, let's go, y'all. We got a lot to talk about. Am I done with these announcements? Yeah, I am. I have a monologue, y'all. I got a monologue. Before I jump into the monologue, last night, for whatever the reason, I started listening to Luther at about 1 o'clock yesterday in the morning last night. And I started listening to my favorite Luther song, Superstar. Hey, John Cook, I see you, my brother. You're doing good work in East Orange, man. Keep it up, my brother. Keep it up. I started listening to Luther last night, Superstar, the long version that he did in England at Wembley Arena, and the 13-minute joint, right? And it made me think about when Luther used to say at his concerts, I'm going to take my time singing these love songs, right? And y'all know that I use that when I say I'm going to take my time on these presentations. I'm going to take my time singing these love songs, right? Because that's what they are. These presentations are love songs, man. I'm just giving love every Saturday morning. When I'm out on the field doing my presentations, I'm giving love. That's what it is. It's love. It's love, right? So love is easier to embrace than hate, right? So I'm giving love. So I'm going to take my time singing these love songs this morning. I don't care how long I go. I got a lot to talk about, right? So my monologue, I won't be long with that, I hope. But I'm taking my time. I got like the way StreamYard's set up, you can see your guests when they're waiting to come on. I got nobody I'm looking at. All I see is me where the guest normally would be, right? So I got nobody waiting. Those of you that can't stay with me today, I understand, but I'm going to take my time singing these love songs this morning and this afternoon, because as I said before, this is the most important topic I feel that I've ever delivered in the 328 sessions we've done on this platform consecutively, right? So let's go. My monologue this morning, setting your staff up for success. Let me give you that again. Setting your staff up for success. Do me a favor, hit that share button, retweet, repost, text somebody, tag somebody, call somebody, holler at somebody. Let them know we are here. I'm live. I'm energized. I'm well rested. And I got notes. I got information. I'm ready to go. So again, my monologue this morning, setting your staff up for success. What am I saying? Let's jump into it. You know, we're at the start of a new school year for a lot of people. Some folks in this area where I'm at in the Northeast, they ain't trying to hear nothing about a new school year. Dr. Stalling, stay there and hear this monologue, man. So a lot of people, you know, people local, they like, yeah, it's August 8th. Don't talk to me about no new school year right now, because we don't go back to like September 8th, that type of thing, right? Or September, whatever, that first week. But there's a huge volume of people who are in. They've been in. They started, right? So here's what the unknowing, unsuspecting, naive perhaps, doesn't know better, walks into that school with this overly optimistic mindset. And they got that staff for the first day. This is their first principalship. Never done this before. They were assistant principal, waiting for their opportunity. So now they got the staff in the room, and it's the first day. And they say they lost sleep the night before, man. I'm going to blow them away this morning. That's the mindset. I'm going to hit them hard. They're going to know I'm in the building. They're going to know that I have high expectation. They're going to know I don't play. They're going to know I'm serious about this work, right? So now here they are. It's that first day, and the staff come in there. They sitting there. They wondering about this new principal. Like, well, what's this person going to be like? And now here come this principal. Bam! Low performance school, I might add, right? Low performance school hasn't tasted victory over at least 20 years or more. And I'm being for real about that. I couldn't find the right word, so I used the slang, right? So now they in there. All right. The community been looking for change with the school. The district's been looking for change. They're looking for success. They're looking for progress, all that kind of stuff. So now the principal has that opening speech, and the current scores are somewhere in the teens, right? Low 20s, math, reading, science, etc. And now that principal says, we are going to be blue ribbon. We are going to be Title I Distinguished Award School. We are going to be the highest performing school in the district. We are going to be at 100% proficient. We are going to do things that no one ever imagined ever in life. But now it's us. We're going to do that. And now that staff, they receiving that, but they ain't feeling that. Hear me, somebody. The staff is receiving, they hear it. But in their mind, they like, oh boy, here he go. Here she go. Let's see. This September, this August, they'll be gone by November, right? So, and this is what folks are feeling, because they know that this like they're veterans. They've been here for a long time. They know that we're not getting ready to score them levels. They all these new principals come in here with that same speech. That same speech. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. We're going to win the NBA Finals. We're going to win the World Series. We're going to win the Stanley Cup. We're going to win the U.S. Open. We're going to win the Wimbledon. You know, all that stuff, man. So, and the staff like, because see, not that the school cannot do that. Y'all hear me, man? This should be the actual topic today, but this is the monologue. I'm going heavy on this monologue. This The school, like, hear me well, the school can achieve at those levels. That's the contradiction. It can. And perhaps it can under that leadership. Ooh, but here's the problem. Put your ear to the speaker, y'all. Here's the problem. That school is not, that staff, those human beings in that building, particularly the staff, but not to minimize the children. That staff is not accustomed to winning. I deliberately put a pause there. That staff is not accustomed to winning. You can't talk winning to a mindset that is accustomed to always losing. Just like you can't talk losing to a mindset that is accustomed to winning. You come in there with that pessimism to someone like me, I'm a winner, y'all. I'm just going to put it on Front Street. I am a freaking winner. You can't come to me with no defeatist mess. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to zone out. And perhaps I'm going to walk away. Heck, on a good day, I might run away. I don't want to hear that. You can't talk losing to a winner. But in our case, you can't talk winning to folks who are accustomed to losing. It don't work. It don't work. So where you going with this, Kafele? Oh, man. Yo, let's go. Hey, to the fam out there, let me apologize. My monologue is becoming a topic. I feel it. But listen here, I got no guests today. So y'all just stick around with me. In fact, tell somebody I'm on fire. They need to be here too, right? So now let's go. Check this out. I'm going to go football on you. Those of you that don't know football, I'm going to make this so plain, you're going to feel like you know football, right? Check this out. So a team is on the field. The defensive team to start the game kicked the ball to the other side of the field, which is the kickoff for the game. It's called a punt. So they kick, no, it's not a punt. It's a kick, right? So they kick the ball to the other side of the field. Someone will catch the ball. Chances are good they will run the ball. Sometimes they won't run it because the defense is too close. I'm getting too detailed with this football now. But let's just go with they'll run the ball. Let's go with that. And they'll get tackled. Now, the game begins. The mindset is not, hear me somebody, the mindset is not, let's win it, let's score a touchdown on this play. No. And if it was, they're probably setting the team up for losing. The goal is to get to achieve 10 yards. That's it. So let's say that you're on the 10-yard line right now in real time. You got tackled on the 10-yard line on the kickoff. Then the goal is to get to the 20-yard line. That's it. But I'll even reduce that a little. Because you got 4 downs, 3 downs, and then 1 to make a decision as to what you're going to do. So now, let's say the first down. The goal might be to hand the ball off to a running back. That's the one that runs with the ball. And let's get 5 yards out of this. Just 5. Let me tell you what they did not say in that huddle. They did not say, let's get a touchdown. That's not the plan. The plan is increments, as Dr. Stallings just said, to move the chains. Hey, Doc, I wasn't going to say that one because then I might have too much explaining to do, right? Hey, listen, y'all. The plan is to get these little itty-bitty incremental victories. So if, as Dr. Stallings just said, if I can move the chains, meaning that these chains on the sidelines that go every 10 yards, If I can move those chains 10 yards, ooh, that's a small victory. Now, let's go for the next victory. What's the next victory? Another 10 yards. So now we're on the 20-yard line. All right. The goal is not way down past the 30 to 40 to 50, then the 40 to 30 to 20 to 10, the goal line. No, the goal is to get to the 30-yard line on your side of the field, meaning you still haven't reached the 50, which is the halfway point of the field. In other words, we're setting ourselves up for success so that as we get closer and closer to the goal line on the opposite side of the field, now victory, meaning a touchdown, is within reach. Ooh. I'm gonna say that again because then I'm gonna relate it to the work we do. We trying to get to the 20, to the 30, to the 40, to the 50. Now we're at the midway point. We started at the 20. No, I said the 10. Now we at the 50. All right, now let's keep marching. The 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Ooh, we are 10 yards away from a touchdown. But now in our conversation with one another, oh, y'all better hear me, man. I ain't got no notes, y'all. Not on this. In the conversation in the huddle, now we can remind each other, we just marched from the 10-yard line on the opposite side of the field. We have done 10 yards multiple times. Now that we're on the 10-yard line away from the goal line, this ain't nothing new for us. We've been doing this for the past 20, 30 minutes. So let's do what we've been doing. Oh, y'all missed that word. Let me give it to you again. Let's do what we've been doing. So in other words, what we've been doing has been working. We got from the 10 to the 20. We got from the 20 to the 30. We got from the 30 to the 40 and on. We on the 10-yard line. 10 yards from the goal line to touchdown. Let's do what we've been doing and let's maintain the same attitude of getting to this goal line. Ooh, man. I feel like James Brown. I want to jump back and kiss myself, right? Some of y'all too young to know what I just said, but don't worry about it. Go to YouTube and find his music, right? So check this out. I'm saying now, the probability, y'all might miss this one. The probability of scoring a touchdown has increased exponentially because the goal was never a touchdown. Y'all don't hear me, man. Y'all don't hear me. The goal was never a touchdown. The goal was a first down toward ultimately getting to a touchdown. Oh, man. James Brown said, I got to jump back and kiss myself. Yeah. So now let's go, because I ain't even get to the school part yet, right? So now let's go, y'all. Let's go. I see y'all comments, man. Let's go. So now we score. Let's assume that. Or let's say we go from the 10 to the 5, right? The 5 to the 1 yard line, right? And then let's get this 1 yard. We have done this all the way across the field. Let's go. Now, I know some don't score at the 1, but for the sake of our discussion, we're going to score at the 1, right? Now, we got a touchdown, y'all. In the opening drive of that game, let me tell y'all something. Y'all hear me, man. I'm sorry for taking the monologue and turning it into a topic. I'm doing 2 topics today now. Check this out. Now the confidence of the offense has elevated. Ooh, we can do this. We did this in the opening drive. We can do this. Yeah, we can do this. But guess what? That's not the only entity that has confidence now. Y'all got to hear me, baby. The defense has confidence in the offense. Now, if those of you that know football, you understand. Those of you that don't know football, you like, I'm trying to hang with them. The defense saying, oh, the offense is clicking. All right. But then the defense is also saying, ooh, the offense has put pressure on us to perform. We got to do our part now. I hope y'all hearing the school parallels. I'm going to make them make sense in a minute, right? But that ain't the only entity. See, y'all thinking about the people on the field. Let me go up in the seats. The fans. The fans are going crazy. The fans are going crazy because of what they just saw. What you think that energy is doing to the mindset or the energy of the players? Because see, now they got the fans going crazy. They got the fans in their living rooms watching on TV going crazy. They got the ones in the bars and the restaurants going crazy, right? They got all the fan base going crazy. Somebody said, well, what that got to do with school? Y'all already see it. Let's go. Let's go to school now, y'all. Let's go to school. So you got that principal, low performance school. That's the last place football team. That's the one that come in last every year. Right? I ain't gonna drop names because y'all from all these cities, and I ain't gonna pick on y'all today, right? So, well, I could pick on the New York Jets. I'm from here, right? So, what a horrible team that is, right? But anyway, right? Anyway, listen, y'all. So now they go on the field. No, now we in the school. And now the principal ain't talking about we gonna be number one. Nah, we ain't doing that message. We looking at our data, and the data says what it says. All right, let's go up about 10 percentage points, right? It still sounds low, but it's an increase. But we're not just looking at that end of year state standardized assessment. We're looking at all the indicators, and we said we are going to strive for first downs. First downs. First downs. That's all we doing. First downs. We ain't never talking about a touchdown. First down. That's all we gonna talk. First down. So now we take those standardized assessments that are not state, right? NWA and all that. iReady, all that, right? And now we look at that aggregate data, and we say, okay, look what we doing. Look what we doing. First downs. First downs. First downs. My whole point, fam, get that language in your head. First down. First down. Get that language of touchdown out of your head. Get that language of Super Bowl out of your head. Get that language of playoffs out of your head. The main language, just for the sports analogy, right? The sports metaphor. First down. That's it. First down. We striving for first downs. That's it. Just going there this year. First downs. First down. Get a clip from YouTube. Show your staff a team making a first down. It's all over YouTube or beyond YouTube, right? Just put in Google video of team making a first down. Show that to your staff. Let them see what you're talking about. Let them visualize this thing you're talking about, which may be so abstract to them. So they see what they mean by first down. Let them get a sense of how wide the football field is, which I'm sure they know. And then, but we ain't going for that. We just want to move the chains. We're going to go from here. That was too much. Let's do it again. From here to here. Here to here. Here to here. That's all we doing. See, that's all we doing. First down. So I'm going to close this monologue by saying this. Set your staff up for success. When you talk about those unreachable goals, or those goals that are so far away that a staff can't see them. They don't seem realistic. Like I think about when my speaking life, right? I couldn't have like I've spoken in all the big hotels in Vegas on the Strip, the MGM Grand, Caesars, the Palazzo, the Venetian, Planet Hollywood. I've keynoted all them those hotels and others that I just can't think of right now in real time, right? But when I was on the come up, that's not like the goal, like to the next step. That's like more vision. That's vision. Like, all right, one of them days I'm gonna be on that MGM Grand stage. I'm gonna be on that Caesar's Palace stage, right? But that ain't that. No. Right now, like maybe I'll be on the school the high school auditorium stage, right? Or matter of fact, let's go way back. Let me get in that cafeteria, baby. Them three parents that show up at that PTA, I'm gonna rock the world, baby. See, that's the first down, right? That bite-size goals, Deborah Higdon. So man, them three parents, like, so the principal are like, I'm sorry, Mr. Kafele. Only three parents came. I'm so sorry. This what the principal say. I'm so embarrassed. But the one with the first down mindset is nah. That's good. That's good. And you're gonna go in there with your best stuff. Three people sitting there and they bored. Like, they sitting there. Y'all hear me, man? They said, when he gonna be done? And then you're gonna go in there, bam! They're gonna be like, ooh. Oh, and now they telling people like, yo, that speaker, I don't know what his name, that bald-headed light-skinned dude, right? You got to come back. He coming back. They said, you got to come back and hear him. See, this is why I can't record these, man. I gotta be live, man. I can't even be me when I record. I love this now, right? Listen, y'all. I see you, Yolanda. Listen, y'all. Listen. Then you say, all right, let me go to that next level, right? Let me get that scholarship banquet, right? Like, it's, so then you get a keynote there. Oh, I like that. All right, let me do that assembly at the high school, and you keep building, you keep building, you keep building. Ooh, I want Caesar's Palace, right? Ooh, I want that convention center in LA, right? Ooh, I want, like I told y'all recently, I spoke at the Washington Hilton, where they have the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I was on that stage like 2 weeks ago, where they have the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And no, I'm not going to get controversial with that. We're gonna keep it above board, right? So, but I can't see that 30 years ago. But now I walked in there, man. It's like no butterflies, like head up, chest out. The mindset, like, I'm here, right? That's what it was now, right? Because now it's natural. That's what I expect. I'm here. I'm in this piece, and I see all 2,000 of y'all, and y'all gonna be standing up clapping when I'm finished with this, right? So see, but you gotta build to that. You gotta build to that. So now let's take it back to the school. You as a leader. You ain't going in there talking about y'all been at like the teens and 20% for the past 20 years. And you knew. Not KNEW, you NEW. You knew. You just finished doing disciplinary referrals, bus duty, and cafeteria duty. That's new. That new. You was just AP, and the principal never exposed you to nothing. You don't even know how to spell budget, let alone manage one, right? Principal never let you see it, right? And now you in there, now you the principal. We gonna win the Super Bowl this year, man. Sit down. Let me holler at you. That's not the speech. That is not the speech. We gonna win a first down. Yeah, that's right, Carlos Green. We gonna make a first down, and then once we get to that first down, then we talk about where we going from there. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's right, Sean. Buget. Just for ain't no D there because I ain't never seen one, right? Buget budget. So somebody say he acting silly. I know somebody said that. Listen, y'all, I just got off the cruise shit. I'm like, I'm real relaxed, man. I'm real relaxed, man. So listen, y'all. Listen, y'all. I'm bringing this monologue to a close at almost 12 o'clock. Oh God, I'm still in the monologue, man. Hey man, listen, y'all. So that's my monologue for today. I got a lot to talk about today, man. And I am not doing a part 1 and part 2. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So if I'm on here till 2 o'clock, so be it. If y'all rock with me that long, I'll be happy. Right? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So my topic today. How am I utilizing my assistant principals instructionally? Ooh. Ooh. As I bring it down a little bit. How am I utilizing my assistant principals instructionally? Hold up that mirror, y'all. Hold up that mirror. Hey, Josh, yeah, I got spots on it, man. I need water to clean those off. How am I utilizing my assistant principals instructionally? The reason I put the mirror up for the principals out there, this session is not just for principals, by the way. APs, I need you locked in. Superintendents, I need you locked in. Assistant superintendents, I need you locked in. Directors and supervisors, I need you locked in. How am I utilizing my assistant principals instructionally? What am I asking? I'm asking you the obvious. When you consider your assistant principals, who are they, instructionally speaking? Who are they as instructional leaders? Who are they as instructional coaches? When you think about the work that they do throughout the course of a day, throughout the course of a week, month, semester, and year, I left the marking period out, but that too. Who are they? Are your teachers growing pedagogically because your assistant principals walked into the building? Is there something about your assistant principals being in the building that the teachers are growing? They're improving. They're becoming amazing, phenomenal, extraordinary, awesome, right? What is it? Yeah, Josh, I got to clean that. What is it? Or when you hold up the mirror, flip it onto yourselves now, principals. Flip it onto yourselves and look directly at you and ask yourself, are my assistant principals growing pedagogically, instructionally, I should say, in large part because of my relationship with them? Ask yourself that question. Or are they growing instructionally in spite of your presence? Ooh. Ooh. Is there something about the fact that you are their supervisor, meaning your assistant principals, that instructionally speaking, ooh, they're growing and they're growing and they're growing? Because as the regulars on this platform know, and I'm going to say it as I always say it, because in those classrooms are those young Principal Kafeles. I'm not going to get into what that means because that'll take me into another monologue. But you know what I mean. Those are the regulars, you know what I mean when I say those young Principal Kafeles. Imagine Under your watch, principal, your AP is nobody instructionally, is nothing instructionally, is invisible instructionally, is non existent instructionally. Imagine under your watch, your AP is so good with the students, is so good with discipline, is so good with structure, which is so good with classroom, with teaching classroom management in a staff meeting, right? Is so good with the cafeteria, is so good with the buses, is so good as a support. But is that assistant principal so good with coaching up your teachers that need the coaching? Is your assistant principal so good with getting into those classrooms to observe instruction? Not to pop in. I ain't asking you that. I ain't never going to ask you that. I'm talking about being in that classroom and making a difference pedagogically because of the coaching conversation. That's what I'm asking. Ooh, it matters. Ooh, it matters. That question is a direct reflection of your leadership. Let me say that again because someone might have missed it. That conversation, that question is a direct reflection of your leadership. That assistant principal will become who you train him or her to be, or who you allow him or her to be. Y'all ain't get that? I told you I'm taking my time singing these love songs today, baby. That assistant principal will become who you mold and shape that person to be, or who you allow that person to be. I was an assistant principal. I was not allowed to become an instructional leader. See, I was who the principal molded and shaped me to be, who they allowed me to be. I had a strong reputation as a disciplinarian because that's what I was allowed to be. But imagine you had allowed me to be that instructional coach, that instructional leader, because we put our heads together and transform the culture of the building. Oh, we're going to get into all that today, y'all. It's 11:59. Let's go. So, with all of that, I have an overarching question for the entire session. I don't know how long I'm going to be, but I do know I'm not doing a part 2 of this. I do know that. Here's the overarching question for today. This is the question to drive everything that I say in this session today. How am I utilizing my assistant principals as instructional leaders? And see how I capitalize and? So let me do it again. Now that you know that I capitalized it. Now that you know I intentionally capitalized it. How am I utilizing my assistant principals as instructional leaders? And what measures have I put in place for them to be optimally successful? Ooh. Let's go with that second side, that other side of and. What measures have I put in place for them to be optimally successful? We talking about you. We talking about you. So this is the last time I put this question up. This question, just like when we write, when we teach children to write, when we write, we have a purpose for writing. When we read, we have a purpose for reading. Well, that question is the purpose for everything I'm gonna deliver today, right? So let's go. I'm gonna keep it there while I share this with you. I wrote a note to myself, as I always say. The assistant principalship, the most misunderstood and underutilized position in awe of education. I stand on that, 10 toes down. The assistant principalship, the most misunderstood and underutilized position in awe of education. Chew on that for a second. Let that marinate for a second, right? So with that said, as I move on, I'm going to deliver this. You know how everything I do is questions, right? And it's really not going to be as long as I've been joking around. It will be, but everything is in question, self-reflective. I've got 16 questions. That's all I got. 16 questions, but I broke them up into 2 categories. Let me give you the categories. Category A, do I bring, meaning you as a principal, do I bring an instructional mentality, instructional work ethic, and instructional focus to my supervision of my assistant principals? No need for me to explain that because it's in the first set of questions. So let me read it to you again just for emphasis. Do I bring an instructional mentality, an instructional work ethic, and instructional focus to my supervision of my assistant principals? That's going to be the first broad category. The first theme, if you will. And then the second broad category will be, do my assistant principals bring an instructional mentality, an instructional work ethic, an instructional focus to their leadership? Do you see the difference? Letter A was, do I bring, as a principal, an instructional mentality, etc. Letter B, do my assistant principals, that's the assistant principals on the call right now, bring or watching the video later, do my assistant principals bring an instructional mentality, instructional work ethic, and instructional focus to their leadership? That's where we're going today, right? So again, those are just my 2 broad categories with no commentary. Let's go into that letter A. And let's break this up. Let's break this down into these 6 strands, these 6 categories. So here we go. Number 1. Do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? Ooh. I'm gonna pause for a minute. Let that one sink in for a second. In fact, while you're letting it sink in, do me a favor. Hit that share button, retweet, repost, text somebody, call somebody, tag somebody, holler at somebody. Let them know we're here, we're live. I'm past the monologue, we in it. And for the new people, I am not, normally my monologue is 5 minutes, right? That we don't do 45-minute monologues, right? That's the whole show, right? It's usually 5 minutes, but I had a lot to say. And I just got off that cruise ship this morning, so I got a whole lot of excess energy right now. Right. So let's go. Let's look at this question. Do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? Let's talk about that. Let me get your comments up here so I can look at them. Hey Keena, I see you, sir. You know we with you. You know that, brother. All right, let's go. Hey y'all. How you going to impose on your assistant principal to be X, Y, and Z? To be this thing, to be this entity that you have in your mind that I want you to be. But then assistant, and particularly instructionally. So you want your assistant principal to be this instructional leader in your school, because your assistant principal, I'm just going to throw a number on it. Your assistant principal has 15 teachers that report to her, or 15 teachers that report to him, right? Whatever it is, right? So you want this person to be instructional leader. But then here's you as principal, and you have your own set of 15 teachers that report to you. And your assistant principal, who, and I just in my scenario that I'm creating in real time out of my imagination, your assistant principal is very new. So they were once an assistant principal, and they were a bad assistant principal, meaning that they were not exposed to principal leadership. So they were disciplinarians all day, did cafeteria duty for 3 or 4 periods, and then loaded the buses, unloaded and loaded, and then other ancillary, tertiary things that have nothing to do with moving the academic needle. So now they come into the principalship. All they know is what they were allowed to do or trained to do. Remember those in the monologue, right? So that's all they did. So now here they are, and you said, I want you to be instructional leader, but your assistant principal has eyes and ears, and they see and hear that all these things you want me to be, you're not it. See, remember, fam, teaching is not just verbal. Teaching is modeling. I mean, I'm gonna bring attention to myself again. I know I teach by example. Just being on this platform. Hear me, somebody. Not my content. Let me put that to the side for a minute. Just by the fact that my colleagues in the speaker world see, oh man, Principal Kafele, this dude hasn't missed a Saturday in 6 years, over 6 years. May was the anniversary. This dude has been live for 328 consecutive Saturdays. Do you think that's not modeling to somebody? When they take off, and they like, I don't mean off for like important things, because you know I'm crazy with that part. But I mean, like, just I'm tired, man. I don't feel like doing this week. But then they said, man, but what would Kafele do? Somebody wrote me the other day, and they said, like, they make certain decisions. They say, but I wonder what Kafele would do, and that drives me. Yeah, I received that. Make no mistake about it. I received that. Right. So I'm saying to you, just being on here consistently, having the guests, doing solo, having great content. Yeah, I said great content. That's modeling, baby. That's saying to somebody else, you don't have to call me and ask me how to do this. Just tune in on Saturday and watch what we do. Look at the quality of the content. Look at the engagement, how we engage. Look at the energy. I ain't on here talking like this and putting up PowerPoint slides, and that drives the whole message, right? I'm making this thing personable so y'all feel like y'all in the room with me, man. You know, it's how we do, baby. Right? So listen. Modeling. Let's go to that number one again. Do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? Come on, man. Hey, principal. Hey, superintendent. I'm saying to you, don't set that bar way up here, and then they see you somewhere in the office having meetings all day, right? Or don't see you. Not because you're in classrooms, because you ain't attached to the building. You're not engaged. Nah, that doesn't work, because the teaching is not just verbal. The teaching is in the actions. You learn a lot watching people. I'm gonna give you a far-fetched example. I told my wife the other day, I said I still want to learn how to play the bass guitar. And I'm watching this Latin band the other day on the ship. And this bass player with this big, twice the size of a Michael Jackson afro. So just think about a Michael Jackson afro when he was a teenager and double it, right? So, and that's who the bass player was. Like, the afro was in his face. It's covering his eyes, right? So now, but he rocking that. And I ain't criticizing the hair. I'm just saying, I'm just giving y'all a picture, painting a picture. Man, he rocking that bass, man. And he was modeling for me, man. Like I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I said to my wife, I want to get with a band. Like my man, Dr. DeLacy Davis is on here right now. I know he's tripping right now, listening to me, but saying that. So he's in a band. He's a percussionist. And I'm saying to myself, I want to be the bass player. Hey, DeLacy, let me get in that band, man. Give me about a year so I can learn that bass. Right. And then and then I'm up there. And so I'm looking at him, man, skinny dude, no expression. Let me demonstrate for you. Here you go. Right, so I'm saying he looked real chill, right? Like real cool. That's how I want to be on that stage one day, man. I just want to be like I want to be like Bernard Edwards from Chic. Some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, bro. I just want to do 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 do. That's Le Freak, y'all. So y'all don't know nothing about that. Let me get back on topic, y'all. You have to model. You have to model. See, I mean, even like when you bring that humor, man, for the podcast, right? I could be on here dry and boring, but I'm gonna give y'all something to laugh at sometime, man. I'm gonna show you that I'm human. That's modeling. That's modeling, right? Do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? Here's my point, y'all. My mother, here go my mother, right? She said, not too late. See, when your mom got your back, man, you're good, right? She said, not too late. She's 91, right? She was sitting here watching her son every Saturday, 328 consecutive Saturdays. She's watched this broadcast live. Not too late, right? Hey, you're right, Ma. I'm getting ready to go to that music store and buy that bass. And take some lessons somewhere, and I'm gonna be in somebody's band, man. I'm gonna be looking cool too. I ain't gonna no smile, just here we go. Do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? Here's my point, y'all, because I want to get to number 2. Principal, don't tell your assistant principal what to do, and then you're other than. Model what you expect. Model, I see you, Vanessa. Model what you expect. That's important. Let them see that this matters to you. Because this particular question, if you don't model this, then when it's time to evaluate your teachers, your assistant principal, I'm going Parliament Funkadelic on this one, DeLacy. Your assistant principals are going to see you faking the funk. They're going to see it. See, you could jive them. That's more 70. I guess I'm locked in this 70s mode right now, y'all. You could jive them during the marking period and make them think you in classrooms, and that's why in coaching, and that's why they don't see you. But I mean, when it comes to that evaluation and they see you rushing, trying to do like 10 and 20 in a day, which is impossible, but you somehow figured that out because it's compliance, all you doing is faking the funk, man. George Clinton gonna come chasing after you, right? I'm saying to you, see, in other words, when you fake the funk, that's called the Pinocchio theory. Your nose will grow. And when your nose grows, everybody knows you are a liar because you fake the funk, baby. See, in other words, what I'm saying to you, you have to demonstrate for your AP that this matters. This is important. This is what we do. Not tell your AP you got to coach them up. You got to be in the classrooms and you sitting in there having meetings all day. Don't work that way. So if I'm stepping on somebody's toes, it's out of love. I told you this whole platform is love. I'm giving love every week. I'm taking my time singing these love songs. I'm singing love songs every first Saturday. This is a special edition, second Saturday, because I was on that cruise ship and I wasn't going to try to organize no guests, not knowing if I was going to get here on time. So this is a special edition. But I'm saying to you, you got to model what you teach. You got to model what you expect. It matters. Let me go to number 2. We're under that same category Do I bring an instructional mentality, instructional work ethic, instructional focus to my supervision of my assistant principals? Let's go. So number 2, am I a good example of an instructional leader for my assistant principals, right? So I flipped the question a little bit. Let's go back to number 1. I said, do I expect my assistant principals to be who I am not? So now let's put it into action. Am I a good example of an instructional leader for my assistant principals? Let's put up the mirror. Ask yourself, fam. Ask yourself, homie. Am I a good example? Let's stop it there. Am I a good example? Example of what? Of an instructional leader for my assistant principals. Am I that model? Like my man, Dr. DeLacy there. I'm gonna keep picking on you, Doc, since I saw you there. My man's a master percussionist. That's what he is. He's been doing this more than half his life. He's a master percussionist. and I might add, he's a master orator. Right? But he could teach percussion all he wants. But at some point, somebody's got to see him playing, whether it be in a practice session or whether it be at a real show. Somebody's got to see him playing if he's teaching someone to be a percussionist. And he plays multiple, just all everything, right? Congas, drum set, you name it, right? So triangle, all of that, right? But you got, but he's got to be an example. You got to see it. You got to see the commitment. So not just seeing him play, but seeing the practice that comes along with it, right? Because you become good at something by practicing. So every time, let's relate that to school now. Every time you coach a teacher, hear me, somebody. I've never said this on this platform. Every time you coach a teacher, you're practicing for the next teacher. I let that sit for a second. Every time you coach a teacher, it's practice for the next coaching session. Now I'm going to tell you where I got that from. It's a speaker term. When we speak, those of us who are public speakers, when we speak, I don't care how big the event is, could be the biggest one you ever spoke at, it's still practice for the next one. Every time you step on that platform, every time you step on that stage, every time you step in that room, that library, that cafeteria, where there is no stage, right? As important as it is, it's still practice for the next one. So now, let's go back to the question. Am I a good example of an instructional leader for my assistant principals? Man, they got to see you. They got to see you. It's nothing wrong with them coming in and sitting on a conversation with the teacher so that they get to see what the dynamics are. But you may not necessarily be at the top of your game all the time. But if you're being transparent with your AP, when you have those conversations, you could tell them, I messed up here. I messed up here. You're being an example that I'm human. I got flaws. I make mistakes. There was something I should have done differently in that conversation. That's what I mean. So you're being transparent with your AP. You let your AP come in. You have a culture of instructional leadership. Your teacher felt very at ease with the two of you in the same room having the conversation because you know how to have the conversation in a way that engages the teacher, that the teacher participates. You're modeling all that because you could have an AP that doesn't understand how to engage, and your AP is sitting in there in a one-on-one conversation lecturing to a teacher. So the AP is talking. Yeah. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I'm going to be watching this. I need you to do this. And here go the teacher. Maybe taking notes. And doing all this positive head nod. So outwardly, here's the teacher. Inwardly, here's a teacher. See, because you haven't figured out how to engage them. And when you engage the teacher, and the teacher is, you created a culture of instructional leadership, and the teacher feels comfortable in the conversation. Now the teacher can express disagreement without consequence because there's nothing evaluative about this. This is a conversation, not a discussion, right? It's not a conference. There's nothing conference about this. There's nothing discussion about this. This is a conversation between two people, and you have modeled for your AP to demonstrate to the AP that, man, the teacher is comfortable in this conversation. And now you saying to the teacher, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Teacher said, wait a minute. You're asking me to do something that's not consistent with who I am. And that teacher can express that to you with max comfort to say, I can do what you're suggesting, but not the way you said it, because that is antithetical to who I am. I'm not you, principal. I'm me. I don't have your personality. So that what you're asking me to do is not consistent with my personality and who I am. I hope I'm making sense, somebody. Tanya, yeah, you hit it, Tanya. Pew, the teacher won't believe nothing you say. See that? That's it, y'all. Listen, y'all, I got 14 more questions, y'all. I'm Luther Vandross this morning, man. I'm taking my time singing these love songs. When Luther would say that at Madison Square Garden, because that's the only place I ever saw him, them 20,000 people were screaming when he said that, man. Meaning, translation for anyone that missed that, meaning they said, oh, this is going to be a good concert. He going to take his time. He going to take Superstar, 4-minute song. You watch it on YouTube when he was in England at Wembley Arena, 13 minutes. When you a fan, that's what you want. You ain't trying to rush out of there. I'm trying to give you the extended version, man. I want somebody to go into that school whenever your school reopens. I want you to go back and like, man, Principal Kafele this morning, that solo session he did, AP New Principals Academy, number 328. That man took my leadership to a level that I didn't even realize. Like I didn't conceptualize some of the stuff he's saying this morning. Then I can say I did my job. Then God gonna bless me. That's how it works, y'all. Let's go. Next one. I told you before. I told you an hour ago. The blessing ain't always monetary. All right, don't forget that, y'all. I know I ain't supposed to be on here preaching, but look, I'm sitting in my house at my desk on my computer, looking at my camera. I guess I could do what I want to do, right? So I'm just telling you, the blessing ain't always monetary, right? Let's go. Number 3. Do I bring an instructional mentality to my assistant principals? Whew. Man, these questions. Like I said, man, I feel like James Brown, man. I just want to step back and kiss myself, man. It's my wife told me to shut up, Ray. She don't get it. Listen, right? So let's go, man. Wipe the smile off. Let's go. Do I bring an instructional mentality to my assistant principals? Y'all listen, man. Ooh. Listen. Imagine your conversation. This is what this is about. Your conversation with your assistant principals. That's what this is addressing. So you have a lot to say, but it ain't around instruction. You talking about, this young man, he keep getting into trouble. So y'all have this long conversation. This young lady, oh man, her parents, his parents, the neighborhood, this going on in the city, this going on in the county, this going on in the community, and oh man, this teacher, man, he keeps saying this, and this one keeps showing up late for class, and On and on. It's a lot to talk about. So we talk about a lot of things, Hear me, somebody. The principal and the assistant principal or principals haven't just talking about a lot of different things. But number 3, let me read it to you again. But I should put, but do I bring an instructional mentality to my assistant principals? Meaning, is a large portion of those conversations around instruction. See, so what y'all talking? Then I mean, it could even go as far as principal goes back, home or amongst other colleagues. Oh man, I talk to my AP all the time, man. Oh, we always talking, man. We talking down the hall. Y'all know, somebody know? You on here. I know you are. We walking down the hall. We talking, man. We talking school, man. We eat lunch together. We carve out time where we sit in the student cafeteria, but we sit at the same table. We talking about things. We get there early in the morning, man. We talking about things. We stay there late at night. We talking about things. We looking at the data. We talking about things. But now let's go to number 3. But do I bring an instructional mentality to my assistant principals, which is asking the question, but are we talking about instruction? Y'all hear me, man? Y'all hear me? Are we talking about instruction? Like, are we talking pedagogy? Are we talking instructional practices? See, that's what this is asking. But see, here's the thing. In case somebody missed it, I can't talk instruction if I don't bring an instructional mentality. I got to bring that mentality. Imagine, like for example, when I'm having a sports conversation with somebody, particularly around basketball, right? And we talking basketball, but now let's go beyond the surface of this team is good and this other team is not good, right? So now if I could take it there, or they could let me just be the assertive one here for the sake of discussion. So now I want to go beyond this team is good and this team is bad. Let's start talking about like players and skill sets and all that stuff, right? And then you find in some of those conversations the other person can't hang with you. They just nodding in agreement. Like, here they go. Like you going deep with it now. Like you talking about like, yeah, but such and such. As long as you could keep him from going left, then you take him out of his game because he can't go left. He can only go. So you breaking it down like that. So like if that defense could keep him from going left, he can't go right. He can only go left because he's left-handed and he can't use his right hand. So now we're going deeper with it. But the person on the other side can't go that deep. So now here they go. Yup, you right. Yup. They don't even know what you're talking about. Right? You right. Yep. So it gives the illusion that you're having a basketball conversation, but you're really not. It's a one-sided conversation. So see, now let's go to the principal, assistant principal. So now the principal says something about the classroom, but are you going deeper into the specificity of instruction? That the conversation is actually teaching the AP. And see, Josh Tovar, you just made the point. I appreciate that. So Josh, my brother, Josh Tovar, out there on the treadmill in Texas, he just said, next time we'll talk soccer. Now he's talking to me directly. He knows I can't have that conversation. He knows it. And I would sit there looking at Josh. We go to dinner and I'd be like, That's what I'd be doing. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know the positions in soccer. I don't know what they do. All I know is they kick a ball and they're trying to get it in the net. That's all I know. That's it. Drop the mic. So that's the point. But on the other hand, Josh can sit there and school me if he wants to. I'll listen. Teach me something. That's what I'm saying about the principal. Do you bring a mentality that now you got instruction on your mind? And now your conversation is a reflection of what you think. It's a reflection of who you are. See, that's different from a forced conversation. Forced conversation, you're just trying to get something in within a particular amount of time so that you could say, so you could check off the box. I had a conversation with my AP about instruction. Nah, this is asking about your mentality. That's different. Y'all with me? Let's go. Next one. Where we at? Here we go. Number 4. Do I demonstrate an instructional work ethic for my assistant principal? So now it's, I'm gonna shorten these because they become self-explanatory because I've been filling in so much in between. So in other words, does the assistant principal get to see you in action? And remember, I always said instructional leadership is not just this in the middle going into a classroom. That's a piece of it. But you got this, the observation. The conversation. And you got this, the post-conversation. Pre-conversation, post-conversation, pre-conversation, post-conversation. Formative. We're not talking nothing summative here. We're not talking anything evaluative here. We're talking coaching. Pre-conversation. Let's go in and see that which we discussed. Oh, and by the way, we ain't looking at the totality of pedagogy. We're looking at that which we discussed. Then we'll discuss that which we saw that was rooted in that which we discussed. Do I demonstrate, therefore, an instructional work ethic for my assistant principals? Do your assistant principals see? Do they get to see it with their own eyes? Ooh, this instructional piece is very important to my principal. Hey, superintendents who are watching right now or who will see the video later, the bulk of our audience see the videos later, not the live. Hey, superintendent and assistant superintendent, what if the mentality and the work ethic, so question 3 and 4, what if they don't exist in your district, in a given school under your leadership? Is there a self-accountability for the superintendent? Is there a self-accountability for the assistant superintendent that even though you don't live in the building, that's not part of the dynamic? You don't have, superintendent, I don't have to tell you this. I'm not a superintendent. I don't have to tell you this. You know this. You know the dynamic between every principal and assistant principals in your district. And if you don't, then you're not in these schools. You know that dynamic. You know if these principals are training these assistant principals up. You know if these principals are training these assistant principals to be effective instructional leaders. You know that. But what if you claim so busy, I can't monitor that? Then I got to tell you, you hurting your district, you and your assistant superintendents, because this stuff is happening under your watch and there's nothing happening to fix it. There's no structure in place to correct it. This conversation I'm having this morning, in fact, every conversation we've had on this platform for 328 weeks, they start with the superintendent. And I'm going to add another piece in there. The board members need to be familiar with this too. I have a whole day-long workshop that I do with board members around this. I just don't get invited to do it much because they don't know that it exists. So in other words, there are board members across America that don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they need to be proficient in discussing instructional leadership. School board members, they don't know what they don't know, right? So you might want to tell somebody, tell them board members in your city, Kafele got some work for you, right? Let's go. Let me see what Robin Snowden said, because I see she got a basketball analogy on here. Larry Bird work ethic was practiced, demonstrated, and seen. 500 jump shots, 99 free throws, and run the bleachers before the game. There you go. It's demonstrated. It's demonstrated. So teammates are seeing that. You're seeing it. They saw Kobe. They saw MJ, Michael Jordan. They saw that. They saw LeBron. They still see him. Work ethic. As opposed to some of them guys, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, sports podcasts. Some of them guys get in 6 o'clock in the morning on a game day. They out party. They don't have that same work ethic. It's what it is. Let's go, y'all. So do I demonstrate it? Let's go. Next one. Number 5. Does my leadership embody an instructional focus for my assistant principal? So what I did, I spilled right into that with number 4. So I don't need to go long on this. But what I'm saying to you, as a leader, as a principal, and keep in mind, assistant principal, I'm asking you to do 2 things. I'm saying, on the one hand, receive these as an assistant principal. Just think about your role, what you're doing, and say, and if there's a contradiction, then receive that. Wow, I've got to figure out a way to have conversation with my leader that I can be incorporated into this thing called instructional leadership, instructional coaching. So that's on the one hand. But assistant principal, I also want you to see this in terms of you being an aspiring principal, and ask yourself, who will I be? Right? Will I be what's being discussed this morning? Right? Will my leadership embody an instructional focus for my assistant principal? Because see, what happens in so many cases, an assistant principal will groom, when that assistant principal becomes principal, will groom their own assistant principal according to how they were groomed. So it becomes a vicious cycle, never-ending cycle of preparing assistant principals for nothing, preparing them to become that which will not survive them in the principalship. They won't last, or they'll go through a career of ineffectiveness, because where the rubber meets the road in the principalship is instructional leadership. That's where the rubber meets the road. Yeah, let me read that, Josh. Does the associate superintendent, that's a level that I tend to forget, because I usually say assistant, but that associate as well. Associate superintendent of academics know how to deliver a session to tier 3 scholars. See, once again, that's critical. That's why you need to be on the circuit, Josh. That's why you need, I'm calling you out, Josh. That's why you need to be out here, because you have a wealth of information, and folks need to hear from you, right? More than what they hear. Let's go, y'all. Number 6, last one of the category, then I go to letter B. Is instructional leadership at the core of my leadership? And I should have put "and" in capital letters. Is it evident to my assistant principals? Is instructional leadership at the core? So in other words, I'm saying here, to distinguish it from the other ones, right there at the center. Like you think about your leadership being right here, right? And then everything else is around it. But right there at the bullseye, right there at the core, is who you are as instructional leader. Is instructional leadership at the core of my leadership? And is it evident to my assistant principal? So put that "and" in capital letters. And is it evident to my assistant principals? Ooh, that matters. Ooh, that matters. And I'll say it again. Ooh, that matters. Instructional leadership right there at the center, and then everything else built around it. Because some of us put other things non-instructional at the core, and then instructional leadership becomes one of the spokes, right? It becomes one of the spokes in the wheel. It can't be. If the children were in the building for other than instruction, I should say other than to learn, like obviously they're learning a lot of things, right? Not just content, in terms of content areas. But at the core of why they walk into the building, it's not social emotional learning. It's not equity. It's not culturally relevant pedagogy. It's not culturally responsiveness. It's not and I can go on, right? Those, it's not restorative practices. It's not peer counseling. Those are vehicles. Like, there's a vehicle, plane. We don't fly a plane to fly a plane unless you in flight school and want to learn how to fly a plane, right? And you enjoy, or you just have your own private plane and you just like flying a plane. But most of us on a commercial airliner, this is United, we are on a plane to get somewhere. Not the joy of being in the sky for hours, sitting there in an uncomfortable seat. We are on a plane to get from point A to point B. That's it. So let's go to the question. Is instructional leadership at the core of my leadership? And is it evident to my assistant principals? At the core of flying a plane is to get to where you're going. At the core of why a youngster walks into a building is to learn. Now, we can talk about to learn what. That's a different conversation. I'm putting it right there, right there at the core, to learn. And we'll keep it there for now. So, therefore, number 6 is instructional leadership at the core of my leadership. And is it evident to my assistant principals? In other words, what are we modeling for them? What are we demonstrating to them? What are we exhibiting for them? What are we teaching them? That's where you got to be. We go into this second category now. All of that was category A, which again was, do I bring an instructional mentality, instructional work ethic, and instructional focus to my leadership? Now I'm asking letter B, do my APs bring an instructional mentality, instructional work ethic, and instructional focus to their leadership? So same verbiage, but now we're talking about the AP. Do my APs bring an instructional mentality? Do my APs bring an instructional work ethic? Do my APs bring an instructional focus to their leadership? So I have 10 questions, and then I'm done. Let's go. Question number 1, which I'm going to continue to sequence number 7. Do my assistant principals under my stewardship bring an instructional mentality to their leadership? Sound familiar? We used that when we talked about the principal. Now let's talk about the AP. Hey, principal, let me look directly into the screen here. Imagine you've been with an assistant principal now. Let's say, I don't mean this year, but let's say like during last year, you were together. Let's say you were together for 3 months. Like this is your new AP. And you've been together 3 months thus far. So you guys completed August, September, and October, right? And then you reflected on the relationship, the growth of the relationship, the maturation of the relationship, the evolution of the relationship. We're talking about just you and your AP, not talking about anything else. And you came to this conclusion as you reflected on the dynamics, the relationship between you and your AP, and you say, we never talk about the classroom outside of discipline. We never talk instruction. Said differently, man, me and my AP or APs, we don't talk pedagogy. That's not a conversation we're having. We're saying like I'm the principal. I am saying you got to get in the classrooms, but that conversation is ending there with a period. Like no, forget period, because that's a sentence. That's the end of the book, right? Like the back cover's there now, because you're saying I'm having a conversation about getting in the classrooms, but we're not talking the specificity of what goes on in the classroom. See, that has to be the conversation. Because as principal, hear me, man. I'm glad y'all these numbers are high. Y'all here, man. Y'all here. Tell somebody else they need to be here. Hit that share button, retweet, repost, text somebody, call somebody, tag somebody. Let them know we're here. And by the way, YouTubers, hit that like button, man. Hit that like button. Even if you've been here this long, you like it. So let the world know you like it. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. The algorithms sometimes don't be working for me, man. Hit that like button. Facebook, hit that like button. Twitter, hit that like button. They have a like button on Twitter? Yeah, they got it. It's a heart, love. LinkedIn, hit that like button. Right? Let them algorithms work, because there's some leader in some school somewhere with an assistant principal that's allowing this assistant principal or teaching this assistant principal to be this disciplinarian. And in that same classroom, one of those or several of those classrooms in that school are them young Principal Kafele who are being shortchanged because they have a teacher that has a supervisor that has no clue. No clue. They don't know what's going on. They just so happy they in the position. Got that increase in salary, changed their whole lifestyle, but they are not an asset according to how this platform talks about the assistant principalship. They are not that. They are the antithesis of what this platform is about. So let them know we on live, or they can watch the video. So now let's go to number 7. Do my assistant principals under my stewardship bring an instructional mentality to their leadership? So now you, going back to my scenario, you as principal, you came to a conclusion. You said, man, we don't talk instruction, but you're going to take it off of you now. It was on you with the first tier. Now we're looking at this second category. Man, my assistant principal has never engaged me. I want y'all to hear my language now. My assistant principal has never engaged me in a conversation around instruction. I wish I had some red flags sitting here, because that should raise like a bunch of red flags. This person has been with me for 3 months. Let's go beyond that. This person has been with me for 3 marking periods. Or let's say let's say you're not in school yet. Your assistant principal is a 10-monther, and you're in the Northeast, so you don't start school till September. And now you're reflecting. You're sitting here. You're in the Northeast, and you're reflecting on what I'm saying here. And you're like, oh my God, ouch! Like I'm gonna use this word. Young people, cover your ears. Damn. Principal Kafele is like stepping on my toes, punching me in my jaw, kicking me in my behind. My assistant principal has never engaged me in a conversation around pedagogy. They may have said I need to get into a classroom, but they haven't engaged me in a conversation around pedagogy. And then you think that now, you private, so it's not like so you saving face because you by yourself, just you and your mirror, and you saying, and I haven't engaged my assistant principal. It's a two-way street. Neither one of us is talking. Ooh, that means I need a nap. Neither one of us has spoken pedagogy to the other. Or here's another scenario. I talk pedagogy to my instructional coach and some of my teacher leaders, but I haven't had that conversation with my assistant principal. Or, as the question states, my assistant principals haven't had that conversation with me. If you sitting here right now and I'm talking to you, we family. You feel free to put ouch in them comments, y'all. We family, man. Don't worry about it. And if you don't want to be so bold, say it to yourself. See, imagine this level of conversation, and then when we go on the Zoom starting first Saturday in September, second hour, we'll still be up. For those that checked in late, you're like, what are you talking about? No, we're gonna still be on here first hour, but second hour, we go on the Zoom to discuss it. How I get that link, Kafele? You're gonna have to go back to the beginning of this video when I go off and listen to the announcement, or any of my videos over the past month, or past 2 months. I ain't going into that today. I mean, this afternoon. I did it this morning, and I did it extensively. You want to be a part of us? Watch this at the beginning, the first 20 minutes. It'll be in there somewhere. All right, let's go. So let's go to number 8, y'all. I appreciate that, Dr. Davis. But you know it's reciprocal now. You know that too. Let's go. Number 7, number 8. Here we go. Look at number 8, fam. Do my assistant principals under my leadership bring an instructional leadership work ethic to their leadership? So you see, you see that first number 7, we just talking mentality, which translates into the conversation. But now you're talking about what your eyes see. Do my assistant principals under my stewardship bring an instructional leadership work ethic to their leadership? So in other words, I'm saying between what you've modeled, between what you've taught, and I'll throw a third piece in there, between who that AP is. Because see, some of these APs, in fact, I would argue many of them, they're going to come in there with an instructional mentality and an instructional work ethic, but it might be their principal that sabotaged it. Now, one could say the school sabotaged it. I ain't doing that. Because as I always say, the culture of a school is a direct reflection of the leadership of that building. For those of you way in the back of the ship, since I was on the I was getting ready to say slave ship again, man. I don't know what's going on with me, but the cruise ship. I don't know. It's in the Atlantic Ocean in the Caribbean Sea, y'all. And I think slave ship more than I think cruise ship in terms of who I am, right? So, but for the folks in the back of the cruise ship, let me say it again. The culture of that building is a direct reflection of the leadership of that school. Don't ever lose that, y'all. Don't lose it. Let me read what Jeff Linden just wrote here. He said, very fortunate that my APs and I do discuss pedagogy. That matters. That matters. And then with that discussion, it takes us right into question 8. Now we get to see the manifestation of it, the work ethic. And of course, I keep going to this, and this, pre, ob, post, but we know that there's even more to it. There's that breakdown of data, for example, that analysis of data. That's part of these conversations and everything in between. But when these conversations are not happening, I got to ask a question. And I could throw the question at myself in my rookie years. I've never sat on here and told you or my live audiences. I've never told anybody I was a superstar in my first years. I ain't never called myself a superstar in any years, as in anything, right? I'm probably a superstar sitting on my couch, right? But outside of that, I don't use that language to describe me. But I will say this: I know I evolved into being effective, right? I'll just keep it there. If others want to say I was more than effective, that's on them to do that. Right. But here's the thing. How does one call oneself effective as a leader of a school, AP or principal, when they have no engagement, no involvement in instruction? Like how do you do that? How does one call themselves an effective leader and have school leader and have no conversation, no engagement with an assistant principal, if they assuming they have one, around pedagogy and instruction? Like, what is the thought process? I'm good, I'm effective. But no, we don't talk instruction. I figured out this principal thing. I'm good at what I do. But my AP is a full-time disciplinarian. Hey, superintendent, how you got your chest out, man, young woman? And you know you got schools where principals are not growing assistant principals. You know that. You know it's not happening. It's like, I'm gonna be delicate when I say this. Superintendents got to be principals at some point in their lives, some point in their journey. Because like I travel the country, y'all, and I come across some superintendents who don't know the principalship. So there are all these holes in their leadership, holes. Assistant superintendents, and as Josh reminded me, associates. Like, obviously you can read books and gain theory, talk to people and gain theory, go to conferences, gain theory, all that stuff. But you're never going to really understand what it is to be a principal. Like that principal job is a monster, y'all. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's a beast, man. And if you're a superintendent and you never walked that, like experienced that, you really don't know what these principals are dealing with. You don't know. You don't get it. You don't understand. That's like the principal that never taught. You don't get this. Right? You don't understand this. Right? Or the one that never worked with children. You don't get this. So as we elevate, we got to understand this through practical experience. Right? Because you're going to get to a point where you're a principal of a school. And you're going to really need to be able to relate to these teachers, man. And imagine you the principal of a school and you were that AP with a principal that did not bring that mentality. You didn't bring that classroom pedagogy mentality. And now here you are, principal. You don't know these classrooms, man. Or maybe years ago you were great in the classroom. But guess what? Like I tell people ask, Kafele, would you ever go back to being a principal? I mean, it's in me. But I left I left the 2011 child. This the 2026 child. Oh my God, somebody banging on my bell. Must be a delivery. Hope it's a blessing. Right. So yeah, this is the 2026 child. I'm gonna give you an example. Because I don't know this person. I'll never see them again in life, probably. They certainly won't see this. So I'm gonna give you this example. Let me see who's at this door as my wife answers. Probably what's a delivery? All right. Listen, y'all. I'm on this elevator on the cruise ship the other day. And this young lady, young girl, she's about, I should say young woman, she's about in her 20s, I guess. So we get on the elevator and she's there. There's a mirror in the back of the elevator. So she's staring at the mirror as we get on, my wife and I. And then there's a young man, about teenager. He's at the front by the buttons, the floors you push. All right, so he's there, he's ready to get off. But the young lady is what I want to share with you. So we get on, and I think my wife complimented her or something. And we both said hello. And she smiled and said hello, but she never stopped looking at that mirror. She had her phone, man. She's doing something with it, man. I don't know if she was doing a selfie. She wasn't doing a video, but it might have been a selfie. But what I'm saying is, that's a different kid, man. Like, like I don't want to go back when I came up because that's too far long ago. But it's like I don't think that's always what it was. You see somebody, obviously, I got the gray. I'm obviously much older than you. Ain't you gonna turn around and like look my way and say, like, cause my wife complimented. I remember that. Ain't you gonna look our way and say thank you? She said thank you. Like I'm gonna pretend this is my. No, let me demonstrate. So now this is her the mirror. So my wife compliments her on something. Maybe it's her hair or something. I don't know. So I'm looking. So I'm the girl. She's looking at the mirror. Oh, thank you. like, like, ain't you gonna look at my wife, right, and say thank you, man, right? Or look at both of. We both said hi. So then when we were getting off the elevator, she's still in the mirror, and we said, "Have a good rest of the evening." Here she go. Thank you. You can't make this stuff up, man. So I don't know if I want to lead a school with a bunch of kids looking in the mirror, man. I'll leave that to y'all, right? And you could teach them out of that, right? I ain't doing it, man. I ain't doing that. I mean, no, I could, man, because I mean, listen, y'all, let me be honest with you. I mean, that was honest. I could teach that out of young people. I don't mean the mirror, just teaching them just the dynamics of adult-child relations, right? I could have taught the girl in the elevator, but I ain't want to have to deal with her parents. Right? That could be messy, right? So I said we gonna leave that alone, right? Matter of fact, it's a lot of kids I saw on that trip we could have had some words with, right? But I said, nah, I ain't dealing with nobody's parents on that. So let me leave the teacher, the principal hat in my room, and I'll come in there without my hat. What did I just do? Mess up my hat, right? How I had it fitting nice, right? Yeah, we'll leave that in the room, man. But yeah, them Casey, yeah, them social skills, man. They're not getting it. They're not getting it, right? Let me see. Let me see if anything what I just said had anything to do with number 8, because it may not have. I may have just gone off on a Kafele tangent. Let's see. Do my assistant principals under my stewardship bring an instructional leadership work ethic to their leadership? Nah, I guess it really doesn't. Let's go to number 9, y'all. Somebody said this dude must have been drinking on that ship, man. No, I ain't drink, man. I ain't drink. Water, orange juice. Here we go. Do I monitor my assistant principals relative to their instructional leadership? That's another big one, y'all. I talked about the mentality first, then I talked about the work ethic. Now I'm on how well do you monitor? And we almost done, y'all. Do I monitor my assistant principals relative to their instructional leadership? Like in other words, I'm asking you, do you bring oversight? Right? Do you bring oversight? Or you just, you hired this assistant principal and like, do you? Because I'm gonna tell you, that happens. It's a do you type thing. Ain't no real teaching going on. The principalship role with an assistant principal is a teaching role. That's what it is. It's a teaching role. So the question is, are we teaching? But it's also a modeling role. Are we modeling? There you go, Josh. You know me like a brother. Orange juice, bagel, and popcorn, baby. I can't tell you how many boxes of popcorn I ate, right? I can't tell you, right? Josh knows me, right? But yeah, it's a teaching role. It's a modeling role as it relates to the assistant principal. You got to ask yourself, who am I? Let's go, y'all. I don't have to dwell on that one. Number 10. Have I set standards and expectations for my assistant principals relative to their instructional leadership? See, again, that's the teaching. So now you said to your principal, I have expectation. I have expectation. So I have this set of standards for you relative to your coaching, relative to your observation. relative to what this coaching entails. And those are conversations you're having with your assistant principal, right? I have expectation of you. So now assistant principal can talk about how challenging the building is, how much chaos is in the building. Well, there's a conversation that should ensue out of that called culture. There's something challenging or toxic or dysfunctional about the culture of that building. So we need to have a conversation around that, because the conversation around culture and ultimately the implementation around culture, which is inclusive of everybody that breathes air in that building, now we can start having the real conversation around instruction, because the culture is giving you the permission to be who you need to be. Let me say that for anyone that missed that. The culture is giving you permission to be who you need to be around instruction and pedagogy, right? So you must set standards for your AP. You must set expectation for your AP. So let's hold up the mirror and let's ask the question: are there standards and expectations that your AP is well aware that you have, and that AP has therefore embraced them, agree with them or not, embrace them because you are the supervisor, you are the leader, you are the boss, has embraced them, and I will live these standards and expectations because they are coming from the leader of my school. And in this case, they're coming from me. That's on you. That's you. And it is a direct measurement of your leadership. If that's not you, then you're failing in that area of your leadership, which is a significant area of your leadership. Let's keep going. Number 11. Do I regularly meet with my assistant principals other than in leadership team meetings toward gauging their progress as instructional leaders? So these are building off of one another. This is simply asking you, are you guys, like you'll have a leadership team meeting. Maybe I don't even want to quantify it because I don't want to do it a disservice. Let's just say you guys are meeting regularly, your team. That little once a week for an hour, and I'm gonna say this politely, but I mean it. But I'm gonna say it politely. That little once a week for an hour mess. I'm saying it politely though. You fam, that's not gonna cut it. It's too much to discuss. But this question is saying beyond that meeting. Do I regularly meet with my assistant principals other than in leadership team meetings toward gauging their progress as instructional leaders? Ooh. So can we have this conversation in the team meeting? Yes. But the team meeting is the team. But maybe maybe you got 4 APs at the high school level. Well, maybe instructional leader A needs something additional to the team meeting. That's what that's saying. Teacher, assistant principal A needs you differently than assistant principal B. That's what I'm saying. So so that brings into the conversation the word equity. So now, are you equitable in your leadership of your APs, or are you trying to treat them equally? And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to treat them equally, then you're probably doing them all a disservice. We'll be equal in the leadership team meeting, but then I've got to make sure, because you got 4 different personalities, and I got to make sure that I'm equitable with them, right? So do I regularly meet with my assistant principals other than in leadership team meetings toward gauging their progress as instructional leaders? Heavy duty. Let's go. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm on number 12. Do my assistant principals regularly attempt to engage me in instructional leadership discussions or conversations? Listen, y'all. This is a big one. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna keep it short, but I could do I could do an hour on this, because this goes back to mentality, right? This goes back to who you are. As much as this is discussing the assistant principal, this is really discussing you. Do my assistant principals regularly attempt to engage me in instructional leadership discussions? So here's what I'm saying. If you bring an instructional mentality to your APs, if you bring an instructional work ethic to your APs, if you bring an instructional focus to your APs, guess what? Guess what? I'm going to say it again. Guess what? You already know the answer. They're going to, in turn, bring an instructional mentality, work ethic, and focus to you. Because it is clear and evident that this is what you talk about. It's clear. This is what you discuss. So therefore, they're not going to be comfortable in discussing with you things that have nothing to do with moving this academic needle. Discipline can have something to do with moving the academic needle, but once the whole conversation is nothing but discipline, then we got a problem. But if we find that, for example, the culture in a classroom is dysfunctional, classroom management in a classroom is dysfunctional, discipline is an issue, okay, then yeah, we need to discuss discipline because of its correlation to instruction, its correlation to learning. But when it comes down to all we talk about is discipline, that's probably because you as principal, that's all you talk about. And they're talking about what they feel you're comfortable talking about. See, but when you lead the effort in talking instruction, now they're going to build from your cue. Oh, all right. That's what we need to be talking about because that's where his or her focus is. And then it takes us full circle to the question, do my assistant principals regularly attempt to engage me in instructional leadership discussions or conversation? That's you. That's you. They become who you teach them to become or what you groom them to become in the building. It doesn't mean they're not bringing the mentality, but if you've put them in a situation where what I'm bringing is not compatible with who this school is, with who this principal is, they're going to morph into something else. We see it every day. Right? So let's go. Let me go to this next one. I'm going to hurry up and get y'all out of here. Class going to be dismissed in a few minutes. Number 13. Do I initiate discussions around instruction with my assistant principal? So I just flipped what I said. No need to go any further. I went into that without having read it first, right? So do I initiate discussions around instruction with my assistant principals? Next one. Are these discussions normal? This is a big one. Are these discussions normal and organic to our relationship, or are they forced or even anomalies? Ooh. Yeah, I got to jump back and kiss myself, y'all. Woo. I mean, listen, these questions, all of them, all the questions that come out of this book and all the other books, they come out of my imagination, y'all. They come out of my experience. They do not come out of things I've read, right? It's just I live life, and then I conjure up the questions that are compatible with the way I'm living my life. So like this question to me is profound. Are these discussions normal and organic to our relationship? Or, should have put "or" in capital letters, are they forced or even anomalies? Like, so now we gonna let me like have this abnormal conversation with my AP around instruction, around pedagogy. Like, we don't normally talk this way, but let me have this conversation. See, that's forced, right? Or let's say your AP has always wanted to have these conversations, but you don't seem to welcome it, principal. This person's always wanted to talk pedagogy, but it seems like when I want to talk pedagogy to you, you seem disinterested. You don't seem like you really want this conversation, as they would say in the street. You don't want this smoke, right? But you don't want this conversation, right? So Now to the AP, you engaging AP in this conversation becomes an anomaly, an aberration. Like the person will be thinking about, wonder what made her engage me in that conversation, or made him engage me in that, because he doesn't usually talk this way. She doesn't usually talk this way. So it doesn't even seem natural. It's forced. It's an anomaly. It's an aberration. Mirror. Make sure that this is normal. It's a normal, organic conversation. Let's go. I'm almost done, y'all. 15. Are these discussions? Yeah, we go on to 16. We got one more after this. Are these discussions with my assistant principals typically about teaching and learning in the classroom? Or are they more about detention and suspension data and other negative indicators? Ooh. Mirror. You got to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I in these conversations with my assistant principal? Or put it on the assistant principal. Who am I when I approach my principal? Right? Are we really talking about what matters most? Or are we talking about who was suspended today? Who was detained today? What's the data say? Are those conversations unimportant? No, they're important. But when you are so rooted in pedagogy, a lot of that data changes. That detention data changes. That suspension data changes. It might even disappear. But you got to get there. You got to get to that pedagogy. Last one. It's long too, y'all. It's long. Woo, I ain't that long. Is it possible that my APs, oh, I didn't put a space. Is it possible that my APs could possess, I'm going to put that space right now, y'all. Y'all hang on for a minute. I'm going to put that space in there. Is it possible that my APs, there we go. There we go. There we go. Somebody got on me. They said, you're a perfectionist. That's a problem. All right, here we go. Is it possible that my APs could possess instructional mentalities that have been suppressed because this is not who I am as the principal of the school or who I am in the company of my APs? I've been talking about this the whole time, but I didn't use the word suppressed. That's the word here. That is the word here. Is it possible that my APs could possess instructional mentalities? So they bringing it, that have been suppressed. Check it out. Suppressed. Because this is not who I am as the principal of the school, or who I am in the company of my APs. So to take the previous probably 3 or 4 questions and add this word suppress, and now this AP just said, look, I ain't going to this principal talking about this because they don't want to talk to me about no instruction. They don't want to talk about no pedagogy. That's real. But here's the real consequence of that. There are 2 in particular. Number 1, that AP could change and become like you. And number 2, the teacher's growth as a result of you is over. It's over. They can grow. They can grow in spite of you, but they won't. But I say the real professional learning happens in the school. It happens in terms of the coaching, the observation, the post-observation conversation. Right. That's the real professional learning. Everything else is secondary. Going to a conference, listening to a keynoter is not the same. As much as I love keynoting, going to a conference to listen to a keynoter is not the same as a teacher having multiple conversations with their evaluator of record in a coaching fashion. And then that same coach coming into a classroom to observe the instruction. That does not equate to a keynote address. That does not equate to a breakout session. Does not equate to a book, an article, a journal, a PLN, professional learning network, an academy, an institute, a seminar. None of that. The real professional learning occurs between you and that teacher. Rachel Gass says suppressed, stifled, stagnated, and I'll add another one: sabotage and undermine. Right? I want teacher to grow because of me, not in spite of me. There it is. There it is. There it is. That's a good way to end this, y'all. So let me close us out. Let me get rid of this, and appreciate y'all being here and keeping these numbers up like this. Let me close us out. Listen, let me make sure in my notes I don't have anything that I didn't realize I had. Nah. Hey y'all, this session, you know, I can literally mentally see. Yeah, I'll say this. No, let me put it in this sequence. Hey y'all, like I do with my guests, I need some data. If today's session resonated with you, if it spoke to you, if it was useful to you, if you got something out of it, if you learned something today, if you were reminded of something today, if you were reinforced today, hit me up. Give me them emojis. I ain't going to be so egotistical to get my big bat. I got my little one here. I think, I know I hit it out the park, but I'm going to use my smaller. I got my Dodgers bat here, right? I hit it out, right? I know I did. That's called confidence. It's called self-efficacy, right? Not ego tripping. Just self-efficacy. Y'all hit me up if today's session, if it resonated with you. I see them coming. Keep them coming, y'all. Keep them coming. That's good data for me. But don't do it for no feel good. You know, if today's session was useful to you, then give me them emojis. All four of the platforms here. I see them. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I see them. Hey, y'all, look here. Appreciate you being here. What I was going to say before I asked you to do that, I could visualize all the sessions I've done since 2020. That's when we started, the first Saturday in May 2020. This session, in my strongest estimation, is the most important session I've ever done. I'm not going to include the sessions with my guests. I'm only going to say the ones when I was solo. This is probably the most important session I've ever done, because that principal AP dynamic around instruction. I don't want to say the principal AP dynamic in the generic form, but that principal AP dynamic in terms of instruction. Ooh, I can't say enough. And did I cover all I know? No, I covered what I could get in 2.5 hours, because that's how long I've been on, right? There's so much more to say. And in a subsequent session, I will say more. But keep this in mind. Let's say that there's someone on the call right now, and you feel like you do want to have a conversation with me around this. Guess what? September 5th is right around the corner. And we switch over to Zoom. For those of you that came on late, I'll be so nice to say it again. You go to my AP New Principals Academy Facebook page. Again, AP New Principals Academy Facebook page. Not my Principal Kafele Facebook page. It'll get lost there. Not my email, because some of y'all dug up my website and went to my email address. It'll get lost there. AP New Principals Academy Facebook page. But if you're not on Facebook, then go to whatever platform you're on and put it there. Say I'm in, or say I'm down, or I'm in, and then leave your personal email address. I'll send you the email. I'll send you the link in late August. Do not post that link. Please do not. As excited as you might be about the possibilities of this, please do not post the link. If you got somebody in your orbit that you feel will benefit from having this broad conversation of the people that tune into this academy, then just send them the link and tell them don't share it, right? But don't post it, because I don't want. I'm gonna use a Hillary Clinton term. I don't want the undesirables on here, right? And I don't mean the way she meant it. I meant in terms of people who just want to troll me, or people who just want to disagree with me because they can. I'm not looking for that mess. This ain't no some reality show, right? This is us talking leadership to help young people to become successful. So I'm not interested in all that kind of nonsense, right? So I just want people on here that want to be constructive, that want to build together and take your school, your leadership, your teachers, and your students to another level. That's all this is about. So I don't want this public. I ain't trying to blow up, right? This about us, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, y'all. With that said, let me give you the rundown for next week, and then I'm out of here. Next week, I got 2 repeaters and a newbie. Week 329, Dr. Quinice Miller, you'll recall her about a few months ago. Dr. Passion Hassan, a few months ago, and then Keisha Green, who's going to be a first timer. They're on because they're all authors, and we're going to be talking the contents of their books. I don't know what my topic's going to be yet. I got to go through their books and figure it out. But we're going to have a lively conversation for sure. So that's week 329 next Saturday morning at 11. Make sure that you tune in to Sean Hurt every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, us at 11 o'clock, and then PGP podcast with Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. All of these are Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you get yourself a copy of both. I don't care what your title is. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? Assistant Principal 50. Get a copy of both, right? Get all my books, but get those 2 in particular. Visit, subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button. It's red. Hit the subscribe button. Once you hit that, hit the notification bell. You'll be informed every time I go live, so you'll never miss a session. But be a part of that 25,895. Maybe it's at 900 now. 25,900. If it's not, it'll be there by this week. But be a part of that huge number of folks who subscribe to the channel. Visit principalkafele.com. And then lastly, your diet, your exercise, and your virus precautions. Oh, man, it's so much out here, man. It's so much out here, man. So make sure that you're taking whatever necessary precautions you need to. That's it, y'all. Other than that, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. Count to 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see y'all next Saturday, 11 o'clock. I can't believe I've been on here for 2.5 hours. Just walked off I was getting ready to say it again. Just walked off the cruise ship, baby. Just walked off, but I got them 2.5 hours in. I must be Superman. Peace.